Tom Reid's Hotline.
Wild lead the Vegas Golden Knights 2-1 after 40 minutes of play. Rossi in the first, Foligno in the second. Wild going into the third period holding the advantage. They already hold the advantage in the series, but looking for their first ever 3-1 series lead in franchise history. First, you got to get through the next 20 minutes, and you also got to get through Tom Reid's Hotline. We'll take your questions right to him. Text us 64686. What have you thought, Tom, through 40 minutes?
Well, I think the team is kind of playing the textbook hockey that the coach was talking about this morning, and that's making sure that all the areas are covered, that they're not giving away that time or space. Joe talked about the fact they've got all those guys high in the offensive zone as well, and that's what you know as a coach, you have to be able to read what's going on and make those changes. It's interesting too that when you go back to the last game, a lot of people thought that they pulled the goaltender because he was bad, and that's of course referring to the Vegas Golden Knights. But I thought it was more of a situation that they weren't going anyplace, and you just want to give them a little more rest. And so we won't know. I didn't talk to the coach before the game here, but I would think that might be part of it. But right now, Minnesota's got to come out with a good attitude here because they've got the one goal lead. They don't want to give up anything, and if they can go into Vegas and win there, how sweet would that be? All
right, let's get to our questions. We'll start with Paul in Fargo. Tom, it's an interesting question, Tom. Are you more nervous watching playoff hockey, or were you more nervous playing playoff hockey?
I think watching it more so than playing. Once you get on the ice, you're not really nervous so much. Once you get the first shift out of the way and you start to move around a little bit, it's great. But I will tell you that when you're sitting in the broadcast booth and we've got these chairs with wheels, and every time I think somebody's going to get hit, I move my chairs like I'm going to hit that person. But it doesn't quite work that way, obviously, from this distance up here. But it's a great sport. I mean, been around the sport for a long time, and it's fun to watch the young kids out here and see what they can do.
That was a question that I asked Vinny Hinostroza. I mean, it's his first game of the Stanley Cup playoffs, and at some point you might have the butterflies, you might be nervous, you hear the crowd and all that stuff, but at some point it must click where it just becomes another hockey game, right?
Well, it does, yeah. And now you're really zoned in on what's happening on the ice, and you have to be looking like, who am I replacing? If somebody comes off the ice, am I replacing that person? So you really have to take heed of what's happening on the ice. You have to be aware of the situation also. And you really talk on the bench, and when you get on the ice, you're talking again. The communication factor is so evident between these teams right now. Sometimes we can hear it on the mics that pick up the verbiage.
No doubt. From the 612 area code, we all know how well Philip Gustafson is playing. I think he got 13 saves in the second, 23 total through two periods. But the 612 area code wants to know, how much credit do you give to Marc-Andre Fleury for the success Philip Gustafson's enjoying?
Look, Marc-Andre Fleury has been a treat wherever he's been, and he's helped every young goaltender that he's played alongside, starting with Vegas. I mean, when he was in Pittsburgh and when he first came in. This is the 18th year that he has been in Stanley Cup competition. And that's amazing for a guy like that to be there as much as he has been. But he's been great. And you even watch Gus when there's a dead time, when there's a TV timeout or something. Gus goes over, and they'll converse. They'll talk about different things. Sometimes it might be about hockey. Other times it might be about let's name the alphabet. Let's start with the letter A. We'll go through the whole letter of the whole alphabet. But they got to X, and they couldn't figure out what animal started with the letter X. But they did every other one. So, I mean, it's kind of a fun time. But when you get into playoff competition like this, it becomes a lot more desirable just to stay with your mind in the game.
Further illustrates the well-known fact that goaltenders are nutty. They just are. They've got bats flying around in the belfry. There's no doubt about it. I've never met a sane goaltender yet. Have you?
No, there's a few quirks out there. There's no question about it. It's like a guy who runs a radio show, too.
Amen to that. Real quick to this one from Daniel in Wisconsin, a frequent listener, frequent contributor. Marco Rossi on the fourth line. Is that a blessing in disguise for this squad, that they've got a guy down there with that kind of talent?
Well, I wouldn't call him on the fourth line. He's actually on the third line, but he has a lot of talent. And the caller is absolutely correct. And he has been so good for this team. And the leadership he brings on that ice and in that locker room is evident, just how the guys respect him. And I tell you, if I'm playing against him, I want to know where he is all the time. Because I know if I go for the puck, he's coming from some direction maybe I can't see. But you have to look around and you have to know your surroundings. And If you don't, you may get caught in a situation you don't want to be in.
I think you're talking about Marcus Foligno. The question was about Marco Rossi.
I'm sorry.
And what a blessing it is to have a guy like that with that type of talent on that fourth line.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a little loud up here right now.
No, all good.
Anyway, but Rossi, you know what? Good for him. I mean, he's gone through a tough time when he had COVID and he missed a whole year of the game. But he has certainly made his presence felt out here. And he wants to be on the ice. There's no question. The last game he was over 50% in the face-off, but he's got to earn a spot too. I mean, if you're not producing, somebody's going to come in who is going to produce, and so he has to just continue to play his game. And we know he can play it. And sometimes the confidence factor is gone with him, but if he can just stay confident in his game, he'll be fine.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Tom Reid in the Al Shaver press box. We'll give someone a gift certificate to dinner at Tom Reid's Hockey City Pub. First, we pause 10 seconds for station identification. You're listening to Wild Hockey, presented by XL Energy. Rossi's got goals in back-to-back games. His goal midway through the first tied the game at 1. And how about Marcus Foligno? A 3-game goal streak. He puts the Wild on top, a minute 24 into the second. That's where we sit through 40 minutes. Wild 2, Golden Knights 1. It's game 4 from St. Paul, and the third period is next. This is Wild Hockey, presented by XL Energy.